Hey everyone. Um, Welcome. So want to first welcome Justin Kahn, who is the founder of this, one of the founders of this website. um,
Well, what's
yeah,
up, guys? Toly, Raj, thanks for having me at this kickoff. This is super exciting. Is this the biggest hackathon you guys have done so far?
this is the
Yeah,
biggest
it's pretty
one.
big. The first hackathon we ever had was November, what was it, 2020? I think like 40 teams formed. And the last one a year later, there were 580 teams, I think, that formed. And I think almost 100 of them got their seed funding before the hackathon finished. So
Oh, wow.
this is the next one that we're throwing since since the Ignition hackathon in November of 2021, and I think we're probably expecting more than that 580 teams to end up forming. So it's super exciting.
Amazing.
Yeah, we literally the first one that was about a year and like 3 months ago. There were maybe 100 teams that like showed up. 14 of them built something. And the one before this, we had more teams that actually finished and built a product than all the previous hackathons combined, over 500. So I want to see like 1,000 people actually take that plunge and like start the journey to being a founder.
Amazing. So, like, there's a lot of people who are building real companies that are coming out of this. What are some notable past examples of some of the projects that got started through hackathon?
I mean, some of the biggest projects on Solana, like Mango, Saber, those are hackathon projects. Psi Options, Katana, which was one of the winners. You see folks go into like a hackathon, start building a product, and we started noticing that they were getting funding even before the hackathon was finished. So, and we had like a ventures team that was trying to get into those deals, and it was like too late.
This time you got to come in with the money gun up front and just like
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Well, that's incredible. Yeah.
yeah, we're lucky that we don't have to be that like the biggest venture. Like we thought, we don't need to be that big venture team. There's enough investors that are investing in Solana that is just awesome. That we see this ecosystem growing, not just from the developer perspective, but from people looking into the space and making these big bets on the future, what the future of crypto is going to be like, what the future of the web is going to look like.
100%. And I feel like there's a lot of energy. My experience, I've just been in the Solana ecosystem for the last couple of months, but there's this huge amount of energy of people building stuff, which is really what's
Yeah.
exciting for me. Like, what are some of the things that you want to see people try to build? I know there's like a request for startups page, but like walk people through some of the stuff that you're excited to see them take a stab at.
My kind of personal, like, I think ideas are that it's time for, I mean, I think it's also time for people to do like very basic things. Like, can you build a Venmo competitor, right? Can you build a very basic application that just has payments, but it's fully crypto? And really focus on the user experience and nail that like idea that crypto can be simple for people to understand and use, but also still have self-custody and that true like ownership of digital assets. If you can do that, right, like I think this is where you can start kind of making the magic happen. You've solved a real world use case, it's still full crypto, it's still full self-custody, and now it's growing like crazy. So that's what I'm excited about. I don't know, Raj, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, just building up the payments thing, like Visa is involved with this hackathon, and they're sponsoring the payments track. And a lot of you may have seen the news yesterday that Solana Pay just launched. So it's basically an open, permissionless, super fast, super cheap payments protocol. Any merchants can spin up QR codes for any transaction. And it's Solana transaction fees, so it's like $25 for 1 million transactions. So I think what we expect to see is maybe it's Venmo, maybe it's something else, but every all the whatever 2.75 to 3% transaction fees that used to go to payment processors are up for grabs in the payment flow to create loyalty programs, viral growth loops, or just finance like maybe NFTs and create kind of packages for merchants to make themselves more sticky. So that's like a whole track. Outside of that, I think gaming, there's so much to do there. And Justin, I know you guys with Fractal have been engaging a ton with gaming teams. But I think what we've been seeing is like everything from open source free to play games that might have been created as sort of libraries, getting reskinned and getting their economy swapped out for crypto tokens and their in-game assets swapped out for NFTs. You can get that stuff off the ground really fast, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see an explosion of those free to play games getting converted into play to earn games. And then I think one of our winners in our past hackathons was DeFi Land, which is sort of creating a really delightful browser game experience on top of DeFi. So making yield farming into like actual farming. I think so that track is sponsored. Who is it? I think Samsung sponsored that one. So yeah, there's a lot of killer mentors and companies involved, and they'll be watching for the output of these projects.
Tell us about some of the other the other tracks. What are the different tracks that are in the hackathon this year?
Yeah, so the other gaming sponsor is TSM, the esports company, and between Samsung and TSM in gaming, the first prize is $50,000. Second prize is $30K, and then $25K, $15K, $10K. So 5 prizes for gaming. There's also, as I just mentioned, the payments track sponsored by Visa. So first prize there is $50K, and then kind of the same prize tiers, five different prizes. In DeFi, Jump Crypto, which is the crypto subsidiary of the major market making and trading firm, is sponsoring the DeFi category, and obviously FTX and Serum and all the past DeFi winners like Saber are all involved in this hackathon. PsyOptions as well. They're all judges and mentors, and the projects they built ultimately became their businesses and their jobs, and you can talk to them about how much they love their life now. There's also the Web3 track, sponsored by Google. Again, five prize categories, and in that track, we'll be looking at like social media alternatives, and things like Audius that focus on music, and then the last track is DAOs. So pretty nascent category. I think this is a year where we expect to see probably 5,000 to 10,000 new DAOs get created. Just like last year, by the time half the year had gone by, there were basically no NFT projects on Solana, and then with the launch of Metaplex, today there's like 75,000 NFT projects on Solana, and probably a dozen secondary NFT marketplaces. I think we expect to see that same kind of boom happen in DAOs. And there are, DAO platforms like Tribeca, which is built by, I think the Saber guys helped out with that one. And we also have Realms in the Solana program library. So a lot of code bases you can get started with to launch DAO infrastructure. And the DAOs track is sponsored by Monkey DAO, which is the DAO behind the Solana Monkey Business NFT project, which is the biggest one on Solana. And then also Mango DAO, which is the protocol DAO for Mango Markets, which is a decentralized exchange on Solana.
Amazing. I'm super excited about the possibility of DAOs and like creating these kind of new digital native forms of human organization. I feel like that's the next, we haven't seen like that much innovation there since people invented like the joint stock corporation, like 400 something years ago,
I think it's mind blowing how powerful this thing can get. I'm pretty sure that 100 million people through a DAO will buy every coal plant and shut them down. Like that's how we're gonna actually solve climate change, is through it's just through direct action via DAO.
That's so cool. If you can buy a sports team, why not? This is like way higher stakes. So let's see what else. How do people get started with the hackathon? Like, what's the we're kicking it off. What's the instruction to people for how to get started?
Yeah, everything you need should be at solana.com/Riptide, because that's the name of the hackathon, is Riptide. And if you go there, I think probably the first thing that I would do is jump into Discord, especially if you don't already have an idea or a team. Part of the beauty of crypto right now is it's kind of like internet in the late 90s or like the Web 2 boom. It's all about community. It's about people coming together, sharing ideas, and forming teams and complementing each other's skill sets. And then I don't know, Toly, like, do you have any advice for folks that are jumping in for the first time?
Yeah, I mean, read the resources, Solana cookbook, start playing around with Anchor as you're building your program. So there's an Anchor Discord, and that's basically the fastest way to build a Solana smart contract. I wrote my first Anchor program about a month ago, and I think it's something that would have taken me like 2 weeks to build. I was able to build in 4 hours. So it's pretty awesome. It's just like does everything that you want. Read the docs. It's Rust. Learn. Rust is a wonderful community on its own. It's one of the most loved programming languages out there. So go talk to some Rust folks if you get stuck. They're super friendly to beginners. If you have beginner questions, all the Rust Discord basically will answer your. I still go there and ask like, why am I getting this compiler error? So it's a great community. So yeah, start coding and start thinking about like what is an application that you imagine is going to be popular or like used by many people once crypto gets to this like scale of adoption of 100 million users or 1 billion users, actually 1 billion users with self-custody. If you can think of those things now, you should start building them now, because it takes about 5 years to build a company, 5 years to really reach that mature level of success. And I firmly believe within 5 years, we're going to get to that mass adoption stage. We're going to have 1 billion people with self-custody.
Yeah, it's kind of everything's being rewritten right through the lens of like ownership and distributed ownership or decentralized ownership. And so there's probably the opportunity to rethink, everything that's been created in Web 2 or on the internet so far, like how will it exist in this new world? And I mean, that's pretty exciting. I'm self-interested in inspiring more gaming companies to get created, because, we launched Fractal a month ago on the Solana blockchain and as a secondary marketplace, and now a primary minting launchpad for game companies. And it's been really cool to see how many people are just like kind of rewriting the economics of games and trying different slices, different flavors, and doing it on Solana. It's like there's so much. For everything, like one project you've seen launch, there's like 10 more that are in development right now, and that's really exciting to be part of.
Yeah, Actually, I'm excited for you guys on the Fractal team to go check out. I think you guys are going into one of the hacker houses soon, right?
Yes, I'll be down in the LA Hacker House tomorrow.
Nice.
Oh, afternoon, like five ish. I don't know. So if you're down there, I'll see you tomorrow. Should be pretty cool. It seems like you got a pretty cool space for it. Tell us about the hacker houses.
Yeah, we so Bartosz and Jordan, who are two product engineers on Solana Labs, they're really awesome if you ever get to meet them.
Yeah, shout out Bartosz. He's like amazing and helped us out with Fractal a lot. So thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, he's super awesome. They're there in LA. I think really the first hacker house was in November at Breakpoint in Lisbon. I don't think I even really knew that it was happening, but we got there and it turned out that Bartosz had gotten this house and filled it up with monitors and just started bringing all the devs there to avoid all the conference stuff and just start, just hack away. And I think at some point, there were whiteboards up and people were putting out bounties and somebody was just like, here's a requirement. I'll send you $100,000 in USDC on Phantom if you get this done. And somebody across the room is just like, all right, I'll do it. So it's really kind of like a frenzy of development activity and mentorship. And so we decided, let's roll this into like a global series of events. So right now the LA Hacker House is going pretty epic venue. I'll see if I can pull up some pictures, but they're all over Twitter. And then they're moving to Seattle, and then Dubai, and then Singapore, Moscow, and Hong Kong, and then Prague. So all these hacker houses are going to be going during the during the hackathon. And if you're in any of these regions, definitely you should go to solana.com/events to see the schedule and register. And go check it out, see what the vibe of the Solana community is like. And then I'm not sure if we have a really great link for it right now, but there's also other community run hacker houses like Mountain DAO in near Salt Lake City, which is just like a mountain house full of devs that are hacking away right now. And so, I think somewhere on the website, actually there's a submit event button on the events page. So if you click there, if you want to go and set up your own hacker house, the Solana Foundation will help with that.
Awesome. That's so cool. Like you're really bringing community around in all these different global cities. That's pretty fun. All right. What else should we talk about? What else is going on with the hackathon?
What do you want to see? Like, what would you want to see as someone who's seen like social grow up in Web 2? What would you like to see in like Web 3 and like the kind of approaches people should be thinking about?
Well, I think that what's most powerful to me, like I was never super interested in the DeFi side. Like I just, it's kind of not my primary interest, but what's really been interesting to me and what made me want to jump into crypto in the last, starting about a year ago was, I think like now you can build these real interesting consumer applications. So like I was an advisor to the Audius project, early on. They actually started out of my house years ago. And I seeing them work and launch an app that's like a functional high transaction volume app that's built on top of crypto that distributes the ownership. And it was like pretty inspiring to me. And so I think, I've talked to friends of mine and I say like, if Twitch was being created today, it'd be a decentralized project because, you have this community that's making the app, right? Like making the market of content and viewers. And there should be some reward for the people who are participating to like participate in the economic upside and control and governance of that platform. And I mean, that's how the internet should work, right? So I'm interested in like, how can you apply that idea to like everything that's in Web 2, like every market, every game, like with these games, like you have games that are like doing billions of dollars of revenue where people are just buying stuff that they don't really own, right? they're kind of effectively renting all the things inside games. And I think the next wave is clearly going to be blockchain gaming, where people have some ownership of the things that they buy and earn inside of games. And then the games realize that by opening their set of NFTs up to be this like open programmable economy, it's actually good for them, right? Like when you make your thing a platform and people actually build on top of it, it's like, it's cool. And you'll create all these like downstream, experiences that people have never even anticipated. So I guess I'm primarily interested in like the social and gaming aspect of it. And I think it's kind of like I'm most interested in the things that I don't even like know to invent. I think like when you make all this stuff open, programmable, and owned by the community, there's going to be like people are going to invent all sorts of experiences that you never thought would exist before.
Yeah, what I've been dreaming about is like if games became kind of their own platforms for expression, for art, like we're all NPCs on somebody else's quest. Because it'd be a lot more fun to play a game where you're interacting with people that are actors, right? Like that are like actually, interactive with you and trying to like move you along in the storyline. And I don't know when that's going to happen, but it feels like, I don't know, maybe within like 5 to 10 years, we'll get there, that the next generation games you're playing against like the community college, like a theater group.
I think that's inevitable.
Stage.
That's inevitable. As people spend more and more time like in these digital spaces, like there's gonna, it's kind of going to be a replacement for the world. Like people you're gonna have all these experiences that are like curated by people who are like playing roles in them. Excited about that. Cool. Go ahead, Angela. No, I was just gonna add, like, what else? What are some other ideas that you want to inspire people to build?
I think there's still like a ton of stuff unexplored in DeFi as well. I think people think that that's kind of like the most mature part of crypto, but I think what I started to realize is that as crypto grows, what's happening is that everything becomes DeFi. Art is DeFi through NFTs, gaming is DeFi through play to earn, and there's a lot of different ways to start building, even leveraging existing protocols and recombining them into like higher level applications, that not just, like what I would love to see is folks step away from like, tokens and yield and start thinking about like understanding how this stuff works with NFTs, with art, with low liquidity assets, and like creating liquidity for those over the long run, and kind of start thinking about what are the economics behind those things and building those protocols. It's really that if you succeed, you'll be like the Aave of that world, right? Like there's no big competitors in these other genres of DeFi. So I think like, if you're especially coming out of like the, traditional financial scene out of, some Chicago options trading firm, there's a lot of opportunities outside of like the core DeFi applications. But, my dream was that the internet of money is going to be backed by NFTs. It's not Bitcoin, it's not Sol, it's not ETH. It's a pool, a basket of culture from which we mint a synthetic dollar, and that's the dollar that everyone uses. And that's the money of the internet.
That's an awesome idea. I love that. I love that. It's like you can be backed by like Nyan Cat NFTs and memes and all sorts of just like cultural stuff. Apes. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the most entertaining outcome, right? So that's the future you should maybe sometimes try to build. A hackathon is a great place to experiment on that.
Raj, how about you? Any things that you'd like to see people build?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Phantom Mobile, just went live, and I think more than any specific product, I'd like to see people that are really optimizing for mobile interface, building tools and and marketplaces and interesting things to do with NFTs on mobile. I think Solana is probably the best place in the world right now to be building mobile native NFT experiences, and the Phantom app is super slick. So if you go and really just test and iterate on the UX for something, potentially really simple, you've got, I think 70,000 people just downloaded the Phantom app like yesterday. So you've got a bunch of people with a brand new mobile app to browse their wallets, and anything that really gives them something cool to do that's super mobile native is going to be probably a really good hit. And then we also have crowdsourced a bunch of project ideas from the judges and mentors in the hackathon. So if you go to solana.com/riptide/ideas, or you can click into it if you go to the Riptide website and click ideas at the top. There's a bunch of project ideas in DAOs and DeFi and Web3 and data and infrastructure. And then I'll also say, like, I guess specifically right now, discoverability and curation for applications built on Solana is a really big problem. It's just similar to the early app store and the early internet where Yahoo was like kind of the main directory of websites. That stuff really still doesn't exist. And the repo for solana.com/ecosystem is actually an open source repo that anybody can go and access. I think there's maybe close to 1,000 projects that have actually registered and have a description and metadata and a pointer to their dApps within solana.com/ecosystem. But that's like basically like one or two people that have ever maintained that. And what I could expect to see is, if you take that repo and go and decide to build like the next product hunt for crypto, or the next app store, or a trust and safety layer using this index of Solana applications, where maybe you build a protocol for verification. What are the top 10 or 20 Solana apps that should really have like a verified check mark? What does that look like in this ecosystem, and how do you serve that as a product to Phantom and the other wallet interfaces? And how do you turn that logic for verification or fraud flagging over to users into a community? I think that's something that's really important. It's going to come up at some point. And again, the ecosystem repo is open, so you can just go fork it. It's a beautiful UI. It's got a ranking and voting system for surfacing stuff, and just go run with it.
Amazing. Does this is maybe too technical of a question, but does the Phantom app allow you to authenticate like your wallet to like another mobile app? Like, could I make another mobile app that like auths through the Phantom mobile app?
I think right now it's all just like the only applications you can access are through the web view within the Phantom app. Yeah. So you have to type in a URL for a web app that you want to access, and then I think it has a kind of memory function for different apps that you visited before, so you can easily go and tap around them again. But it's just web based.
I have this vision for app I want to build like for fun. That's like an NFT project where if you have the NFT in your wallet, you can authenticate to this other app, and this app would let you control like a physical art project that I'm building for Burning Man. That's like my campus for fun. We're building like a physical art project, and I can see you like controlling it from an app, and we can sell NFTs to kind of fund. Well, we're funding it already, but like sell it. We don't want to donate the proceeds from like an NFT sale for it.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be incredible. It's going to be a 60-foot long art car that's a giant iceberg, like a synthwave iceberg, with lasers that go 17 miles, 220,000 LEDs on it. And so imagine if you just pull out your mobile phone, you connect to there'll be like WLAN like exposed, and you like connect to the thing, and then you can press a button, and if you have the NFT, you like off this app, you press a button, everything goes like blue or yellow or whatever color you want or whatever visualization you want.
That's awesome. That would totally work. Just wallet connect and just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's dope.
So Jed, if anyone wants to, hack on something, like hit me up.
Yeah, anything that you would work for Burning Man is another good hackathon topic. This is like
We'll
the
put
time to experiment. Like,
Yeah. We'll make a new track. We'll make a sixth track or whatever. I'll be
yeah,
the Justin Kahn is the sponsor, the Burning Man track.
I love it.
Nice. Yeah, I think an important note is like a bunch of fully formed, funded teams and products came out of prior hackathons, but there's also like community choice awards. So if you just even build something really fun that showcases a particular technical skill or your proficiency at building really delightful UIs, even if it's not something you intend to turn into a big business, there's a lot of room for it. And then I think we've seen teams get kind of acqui-hired from hackathons as well by existing Solana projects. And teams have kind of like shown what they could build, and then they ended up merging into a different team afterward. So I would say, whatever like sparks joy is what people should build.
Yeah, just go build something, right? Like that's the fun. I mean, the fun part of this.
Yeah.
I think it's like Wild West. Let's just like build something fun. That you're gonna have. It's gonna put a smile on someone's face.
For sure. We've also seen people like, I would say probably on average, it takes about 2 hackathons before somebody kind of iterates to the right team and the right product to go take a big swing, or they're just so integrated in the Solana community by that point after, around three or 4 months. And they've got a few code bases to point back to and say, here's what I built, here's what I understand, that it's easy for them to get jobs within the ecosystem or find that complementary skill set of other teammates to go, go full time, which I think that's the goal for me, is to get as many developers full time working in Web3 as fast as possible. And Solana is the place to do it because you're not really scale or cost constrained on anything that you do.
Yeah, the Mango Markets team formed during the hackathon. So these were folks that were just never knew each other prior to that, and built this amazing project that is, one of the most successful ones on Solana.
Yeah, Mango had an IDO that was using a drop mechanism that they built, and in the deposit period, it went up to I think over $500 million.
Which is more than half the dollars on Solana.
At the time, it was more than half of all the USDC that was in circulation on Solana went into their smart contract. And then in the withdrawal period, it came back down to like 70 million. But this is a team that had been working maybe for less than 6 months and formed and found each other and started in a Solana hackathon less than a year ago. And ended, with a $70 million treasury, and they're, a critical part of the DeFi ecosystem on Solana. So it's just incredible how fast teams can get off the ground if they really find their groove. And this is why we haven't really seen or spent a lot of time and effort on something like a Y Combinator within crypto, because I think actually like a 10-week program is way too long. Actually, 2 weeks. 2 weeks is plenty to try and get something out the door, and even build a community around it, and an audience and a brand, and prove out a concept. And then 6 months is plenty of time to get 2 or 3 shots on goal. So that's why we have this sort of quarterly hackathon cadence. To take whatever project or seed of an idea that you had and just sprint toward an outcome where the whole industry is going to be able to see what you built. We've got literally every major investor, from Andreessen Horowitz and even folks that aren't on the website, like from Sequoia, are paying attention and will be looking at the outputs, but also Multicoin and Paradigm and Sino Global, and I mean, just everybody, literally all the investors in the space. And now all the veteran builders within Solana too are all like, it's nice for them to just have like one 5 or 6 day period to just look at everything. So I think that's kind of a motivating force for everyone to focus and just like have an artificial deadline to sprint toward. But yeah, it's like whatever you can get done in this hackathon, and then start plotting your path to the next one, because there's always going to be another one around the corner, to just evolve toward.
Now's the time to go build something. It's like investors are there, energy's there, the ideas are there. What excuse do you have?
Yeah. What was kind of cool to see like during the early days is that a lot of the teams that tried to build something in those first two hackathons ended up following through and trying it again in the third one, and actually succeeding then at that time. So like don't think about it as there's always going to be another hackathon. So so this is both a learning opportunity, a way to like get started, a way to meet investors, talk to them the first time. And we have a lot of folks on our team that are happy to like kind of coach you through that first raise or whatever it is that you need to do to get a company off the ground. So reach out. We got a ton of resources.
Awesome. All right, should we close it up? Any final thoughts on? Sounds like there's a ton of resources to get started. People should check out the Discord if they want to join a team and find a team. Visit the hacker houses. There's a schedule of the hacker houses up on the website on solana.com/events. I think you mentioned. Anything else I'm missing there?
I think that's it. If you want to build using the new Solana Pay standard and protocol, you can go to solanapay.com, or I think Solana. Yeah, actually from there you can reach the developer site with all the resources and the GitHub. So yeah, solanapay.com. And open source your projects. So I think it may be a little scary to do that, but I remember in the early days of Solana, Toly was like, we're first line of code, go open source, and all the discussion in the open on Discord. And I think for folks that are used to building closed source Web 2 applications or might work at big companies and aren't used to that kind of thing, I would just say, just trust us. It may, it's going to accelerate everything. It's going to give you more feedback. It's going to get you more engagement from potential team members or other developers that can use the code you're building. And if you drop your project, there's a chance somebody else picks it up later, just by finding their way to something that they care about. And you might end up finding a teammate or a project that you can advise or invest in or be part of even after the fact. So I would say, definitely go fully open source and build in the open from the beginning. And then name your project, give it, like, go on Fiverr, get a logo for it, make a Twitter account and start building the audience for it. Announce, what it is that you're trying to build, make a landing page. Stuff in crypto can be pretty complicated, and but it's also, the world's attention is on this industry right now. So it's very easy to start, collecting what will ultimately be your first user base, and start getting attention and mentorship from the existing community that has a lot of pattern recognition and wisdom. But you're not going to get that as easily if you don't put yourself out there and say, okay, like, here's the project, this is what it's called, this is the 2 lines about what it is, and here's where to reach us on Twitter. So I'd say, this is kind of the ethos of crypto, especially. I think this is especially important for people that haven't been in crypto for the last 4 or 5 years that are just coming in. Like, lean over your skis and just be more open from the beginning, and wear your heart on your sleeve. And you're gonna get punched in the face probably, but you'll find that that's the beautiful part. That's when you'll start really enjoying crypto. Is when you go through your first struggle in public, and you push through it, and you build community through it.
100%. That's been my experience. Toly, how about you? Any final thoughts for getting started?
Yeah, I would start community as early as possible. Like as you know, those first lines of code that we built for Solana, we were in our Telegram group, and there was about like just us, the devs, and the first people that would kind of join, they're like, what when is ICO? And our response was, we're working on the code right now. It's all about the tech. And that created that environment in those super early days that this was an engineering focused team, engineering focused community. And that was really important. And it grew from that, from those like early days where there was like just 30 people like following like me and Greg and Steven like code, like commenting on our pull requests and stuff. And seeing the progress, and that was really awesome. A lot of those folks, stuck around. Some of them became validators and like really became the heart of the whole ecosystem.
Amazing. Well, I'm super excited to see what the community creates. I've already been super stoked in my short time building in Solana about like everything, what everyone's created. And if I'm interested in gaming projects, if anyone is out there working on some sort of gaming project, you can hit me up at Twitter at Justin Khan. I'm super supportive, and the goal with Fractal is to like empower people to build and release gaming projects to incredible communities. Let me know. And if you're interested in art and Burning Man art, also hit me up. It's incredible. Cool.
Thanks,
All right.
Justin. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.